So when it comes to common pain points, because I know that
Mhm,
myself, I have a virtual assistant.
mhm.
And one of the things when I first started, it was about being the Lone Ranger and learning how to do everything yourself. And there are some benefits to that because when things go off track, I know exactly where to say, hey, did you check this? Hey, did you push this button?
Yeah.
And then there's times where, of course, it advances me and I need their help significantly.
Sure.
So, what are some of the pain points that Belay is a solution for?
So inbox management is probably one of the biggest pain points we hear. And I'll give you the list of the four, and then I'll kind of come back to that because I think that's bigger than what it actually sounds. So inbox management, calendar management, task management, and of course bookkeeping and payroll. So if you think of like all the back office things that a company or a leader needs help with that really they probably shouldn't be doing so that they can focus on their business. Those are the things that people come to us for. And the reason I said inbox management, that doesn't really describe what that pain point is. You know, most people have a crazy inbox, right? That's how everybody communicates today is through email. And you either have tens of thousands of emails that you're never going to get to because half of them are spam, or you just ignore it and you know you just clean it out and just start from
Yeah.
scratch, and if it's important somebody will reach back out to you. I like to give a real case scenario. So as I'm prepping for our call today, and as I'm even sitting on this call, my virtual assistant is in my inbox, and she is my triage. She's the old school front office, you know, gatekeeper, if you will, to me. And so she's managing that as I'm busy doing what only I can do. So that when I'm done with this and I go back to get into my inbox, it's not overrun with the 100 emails that I probably got today. It's narrowed down to the 10 that actually need my attention. And so that really is the biggest pain point that we see leaders come to us for.
You know, it's fascinating because I was just having a visual. Now, if we looked at our inbox as
Mhm.
like a bedroom
Yeah.
or a pantry, the kitchen
Hmm.
pantry, or the junk drawer,
Right.
we could say,
Junk
we
drawer
could,
is probably even better.
yeah, we could use this junk drawer as an analogy
Yeah.
of what email can look like.
Yes.
Everything's in the one pile, and not everybody knows how to set up the rules and actions within Outlook or whatever form that they're using.
Sure.
Brilliant, brilliant. So tell us a little bit more about how leaders can take back their day. I know one of my coaching clients, actually, this was a few years ago. He said, if I could only manage my inbox. And at the time, the company didn't have, he had just been assigned assistant, but didn't really know how to utilize her. And I'm like, let her take control of your inbox, right? So I would love to hear more pointers about how leaders can take back their day.
Yeah, it starts with delegating and letting go. It has to start with that. And it was hard for me. I am a control freak, as you can imagine. I think most leaders are. I like to make sure that everything that has my name on it or my signature on it is up to my standards. And so it was really hard for me to let go of the things that don't require me, because it still represents me. And so if it's just
Right.
a simple email responding to somebody, she certainly can do that. So I delegate that to her. I delegate all of my travel arrangements. I have to let go of some of those things. And when you're able to put a value to your time as a leader, you know, for me, what does Belay pay me? Boy, flights get really expensive if I take time to think about how much time it actually takes to schedule my own travel. Even if
Right.
I'm looking for a good deal on that flight, it got real expensive real fast because I'm taking my time doing that rather
Right.
than having somebody appropriately paid to do so. So
Yeah.
it's really delegating, but you have to kind of go through that exercise yourself to determine what should be delegated. I actually
Mm.
like booking my own travel. I enjoy it. It's fun for me.
Yeah.
but it's costing my company way too much money for me to do that. So it's the
Yeah.
right thing to delegate.
And I find it very interesting that you say that because, we think, oh, it's such a little task. Why should I delegate it? Yet at the same time, if you put a dollar value to your time, is it
Yes.
best served you to be booking it, even though you like it?
Right.
And
Right.
I find that fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's the biggest number one thing that you have to learn to delegate. And if you don't have somebody to delegate to, it's really hard to work that muscle to get comfortable with it.
Yeah. What would be some other things that you would be delegating?
I delegate my grocery shopping. I do all my grocery shopping through an app and a delivery service, and my VA knows exactly what I need each week.
Yeah.
But professionally, I delegate pulling reports for me if I'm prepping for a board meeting or if I'm prepping for a meeting where I'm presenting. She's doing all the presentation work for me, all the research that goes into that presentation.
Right.
Um, she works with our IT and ops department to make sure that the reporting that I have on my dashboards in our CRM are reflective of what she knows I'm looking for.
Right.
Um, Lots of spreadsheets in my role, so she creates those spreadsheets, makes sure the formulas are operating correctly, making sure that they're updated. Um, and then I also have her as a fly on a wall, which I think most people don't think about. So, what I mean by that is since we are a remote company, I can't walk down the hall and listen to the sales team meeting.
Right.
I can have her attend the sales team meeting and give me notes on how that meeting went so that I kind of have a pulse on how one of my departments are doing.
When did you start delegating things? Like when you knew that it was something you needed? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
know you joined in 2014,
Mm-hmm.
but was there a moment that I'm like, hey, look at this list of things. I like to do them, or this one I really don't like to do. I would really like to take it off my plate. But
Yeah.
what was going
It's
on for you at the time that
Yeah,
you
it's
decided that?
definitely an evolution. I didn't start off being able to do all of those things to just say, here you go, here it all
Yeah.
is. It was an evolution. And so the first step was inbox and calendar. That was pretty simple. And then an expense reporting and kind of all of that weekly stuff that it doesn't take me to do. I would say it probably took about 6 months for her to see where I needed the help. And so it wasn't just from me, it was also a proactivity that she showed up with
Mm.
and a resourcefulness that she showed up with and said, hey, I don't think it's worth your time to go to a monthly sales team meeting or the weekly sales team meeting once a month. Why don't I sit in on it and take some notes and report to you?
What are the 4 signs that you actually need a virtual assistant? Like, I think there's, especially entrepreneurs or people running their own business, they either do some contract work, but then they're like, you know, I, it's not a big deal. I could still pull this off. It takes me 15 minutes. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about the value of time. And it's not that like you said, your presence can be intimidating, but it also can be, it's still valuable, but it needs to be really channeled to where that value is going to have the biggest bang for the buck for the business.
Mm-hmm.
So what are 4 signs that people actually need a virtual assistant?
Yeah, I would say it's missing emails, double booking yourself on your calendar,
Mm.
missing deadlines. And for me, the most important is that your business life or your if it's you own your business, you're running a business, you're a leader in a business, and it starts to bleed into and take over your personal life.
Mm.
And I like to kind of the front half of that list, I would say it's really communication. Are you communicating the way you wish you were or wish you should be? Are you responding the way you expect your employees to respond to your clients?
Mm.
Because you're so overwhelmed and you've got 10,000 emails in your inbox, are you really responding at the rate of which you should be? And if you're not, that is a clear sign. And then if you're missing little Johnny or little Sally's play or game, because you're running out the door to try to get there on time and you're late. It's, it's how much is your business life bleeding into your personal life where you no longer know where the clear line is.
Right. And I think a lot of people have faced that, especially when we've gone virtual,
Sure.
that, people had, family life at home, and there was a blur in that balance of, okay, when does work stop and when does